see His Holiness on my phone. It's okay. Your Holiness, good morning. Today, we begin the recitation of the Heart Sutra from the Republic of Tuva, which you last visited in 1992. This year in July, the Tuva Sangha lost their Khenpo Lama of Tuva, Venerable Jambe due to the coronavirus. I would like to take this opportunity to express our condolences to the people of Tuva. On October 4th, a new Khenpo Lama was elected, Venerable Gilek Natse Dorji. And I, on behalf of all Buddhists of Russia, would like to congratulate him on his appointment and want to express my sincere prayers for good health, prosperity, and success. Today's teachings is also being attended by the President of the Republic of Tuva, Mr. Shorban Kara Ol. Now, I would like to ask the Tuva community to begin the Heart Sutra in Tuva language. Thank you.
Algaç koydu sadılarının dedi şulanı dil. Adı sada olur baş. Kanı gösüşkünde büyük cündü. Dayanınca geri bergen olurgan. Za ola öyle sadı mahasat. Adıktı havalı gide şarı. Kanı mergen uğan paramidasın. Navavulab dura. Eşşandını maza boydu sadı. Ondan başkanın ayız gücünü evi bile açık hava kudra durgaş oydu sadı maha sadı dıktı havalı gidişat mergen oğan paramidasının botanların çingedir güzellik uzaklıktan onlar ancara şengedir ucunu kokum şakmıncar aydırıktır oydu sadı maha sadı yıdıktır havalı gidişvarı havyanlık şari budraga mıncar hargılaptır İputra hanı mergen oğan paramidasının botanların çingedir güzellik uzaklıktan onlar Kızılırdan kızlar, cara şengedir uçurubu. Ol beş yandını baza boydu zundan kuru kıldırı ılavılar gözü. Kuru şınar kevirilir, kevirden kuru şınar angı tulmaz. Kuru şınardan kevir angı bulmaz. Sağ olışkaş binişkin algaşkın kevirleşkin mederel baza kuru. Sari udra şakıncar büyücüler kuru. Todara dılgazı çok. Tıp tıp görben, soksap görben işini çok. Dilden gedileri çok. Olgat basta. Sari udra ancarga. Minişkin çok. Allah'aşkın çok. Evrileşkin çok. Negerel çok. Arak çok. Kulak çok. Tumcuk çok. Tıl çok. 마가보족, 우한족, 신지족, 다족, 젖족, 암단족, 의득들의족, 주족, 가랍대세족, 운단두라, 우한계세제제족, 우한계세제제들의 과사족, 도라 거르시건 ölüm족, 거르시건 ölüm제들인게 제들의 과사족, 자고르시가 조우랑족, 더불간의족, 젖반의족, 더운족, 일된 노관족, 제디시kin의 고르족, 제디시kin의 골바스 과사족, 보드라 보이도 사들라라가 제디시kin 골부대 주도르바스 장가 솔라라 메르게 노관 바람 있다슨 가다야는 강하답더라lar 장가 오라는 사르셰트딘데 일바직들에 호르골 세지족 장가 올라는 미게 üzerlerden dolu hastalılaştı mungaraldım toyulundan aşıpmerde kendi sağdan büyük buğdalar baza mergen uvan baram ittasın gadayanım Engedi odu doduşkunga ilede Jarga mergen uvan baramitasının darinası Edi bilimin darinası On bedik cüda kırbas Dengetilmez cüge dengecil bügü Dilincetti namdadır şakko darina bolza mege eves Aşın tepili val Mergen uvan baramitasının mınca de Yajata om gade para sam gade bodesu Çaribudra boydu sadılar maga sadılar hanı mervenu an baramitas mıncara çengedir ucurlu Yancarga kagavan dedi dayanından durup gelgeç Oydu sadı maga sadı öptey avola dikişvaraga mınca dektir Tergiyindir Kızıgurtan ol şağındır Seni görgüskeninde kanı mergen uğan baramitasın şakın jarasını gedir gerek Ancarga da tagadalarda hırıp amırarlar Kaga mındır jarlık bolurga Açık havalı şarip udra bile Koydu sadı mağazadı ödüftük avulu dişvara baza Büyüdeni zimirgen Baza dengerler, kişiler çarçok dengerler, sürüngürlerde, yüzerdelere yürür. Ayıktan soru alın, ile de alga maktanlara cüvedi.
Oh yeah. 다 들이 태모 이버지. 이버지.
So today is the second day,
그거 서버 되진사. 맞아, 안 되지.
and tomorrow is the auspicious day of the Buddha descending from the heaven of the realm of 33. So I thought we would do a Buddhist Chitta ceremony. So we'll have a meditation on the empty bodhicitta for about a minute or so, and also a meditation on emptiness. And then we'll do the bodhicitta ceremony, generating bodhicitta. Since it's the third day of our teaching tomorrow, and also it coincides with the Buddha's descending from the heavenly realm of 33, and which is considered very auspicious in Tibet. And in some monasteries, they even put up some kind of a ladder, but that seems rather orthodox. So the story is that the Buddha was said to have gone up to the heaven of the realm of 33, and therefore, in order to visit his late mother, Maya Devi. So in any case, even if you put some ladder up, it won't reach the heavenly realm of 33. it would even take hundreds of millions of tens of millions of these ladders to reach up to the realm of 33. So, of course, we do not have to prove the uniqueness of the Buddha by displaying some, talking about or showing the miracles or. But we do not also have to take the teaching of the Buddha only on faith alone as well. And so we can actually say, but we have to take this Buddha's teaching based on reason, as the Buddha himself has stated, O monks and scholars and so forth. And so the Buddha can be taken as a top-class kind of a philosopher, of the world. And so, according to his own statement of examining his teaching, the Nalanda masters have actually put his teaching to the test of reasoning. And so we are all followers of the Nalanda tradition, as I said yesterday. And today we are facing lots of problems because of not having controlled our mind, disciplined our mind. And so all religions teach the means to discipline our minds through the practice of love, compassion, tolerance, and so forth. But the way the Nalanda masters and of the Buddhist tradition teach us to discipline our mind is first understand what actually disturbs our mind and what are those that counter these negative emotions, these disturbing states of mind. And so what we find is the basic nature of the mind is that it is luminous and awareness or cognitive. And the stains or the defilements that are in our mind are just temporary, adventitious. And so they are not in the intrinsic nature of the mind. And therefore, today we are going through the commentary on Bodhicitta by Master Nagarjuna, who is also known as the second Buddha in this teaching of the Shakyamuni Buddha. So the teaching of the Buddha, mainly the texts that we study that has come down from the Nalanda tradition. So of course Nalanda came later. So the Nalanda masters So, of course, even during the time of the Buddha, there were the different teachings, the philosophical concepts or ideas, such as the Vaibhashikas and Sutantikas, during the time of the Buddha himself. And then the understanding of the teachings developed further, and therefore we have the development of the philosophical schools such as Chittamantras and Dhyamakas. And therefore the Nalanda masters, the great commented on, they emphasized or explicated the teaching of the second turning of the wheel of Dharma. And then regarding the luminous nature of the mind, we also come across this in the third turning of the wheel of Dharma, as I mentioned. And so, Kongdang Tenpe Döme Rinpoche has said that the teaching of the Buddha is like climbing up a mountain, beginning with the basic teachings and going up through the turnings of wheel Dharma, and then the Tantra, to the highest Yoga Tantra. So here in this text, we come across the rejection of the non-Buddhist school philosophical ideas, and we have come to that of the Chittamatra view. So the second and turnings of the wheel of Dharma and the third turning of the wheel of Dharma are the more important teachings of the Buddha, whereas the first turning of the wheel of Dharma forms the foundation teaching of the Buddha, where he teaches that the suffering, true suffering and true origin and so forth. So the true origin is the root of our sufferings, and because the defilements, the destructive emotions and so forth are not in the intrinsic nature of the mind, that it can be overcome. Therefore, he is taught the third noble truth, the true cessation, and then the true path, as the antidote to the defilements. And so that is taught in the second and third turning of the wheel of Dharma. And so, for those who were not able to understand or take the second turning of the wheel of Dharma, the emptiness, then he taught the non-duality of subject and object in the third turning of the wheel of Dharma. Whereas for those who are very bright and sharp and have a very could understand the profound teachings, he taught these other turnings, and then led them into also the tantric teachings. So the non-Buddhist philosophical ideas were already mentioned yesterday, and so they accept a permanent, single and autonomous self. So I find this sometimes easier to use to prove that there is past and future lives. Whereas in the Buddhist logic, we say that a consciousness must have a similar type of its similar type of consciousness for it to succeed, and in order to prove the past and future lives.
풍불의 전시를 다스는 수도지 여등이지 디 로르샤데 레라서치.
So it seems it's easier for me to use this idea of an Atma as asserted by the non-Buddhist traditions, easier to use to prove the past and future lives, because it's a single, permanent, and autonomous. This is to say that it's distinct from the five aggregates.
풍불의 전시를 다 뜻이라고서 디 얘네 연구말에
So here the Master Nagarjuna rejects this idea of
강시 내지 녀마인 시속에 나가다 뜻이라고 다 풍불의 전시버지 아니 아 걔는 녀매 되버지.
So the non-Buddhist tradition idea of what they have asserted is not acceptable. It says,
난베 순간 나로래 토마이니 대바시스는 순수자네 지금 안으로 나오는 시기 아니 동네 대바 군중 대바 고괴 대바 사디디 로로 나오는 시기 녀모.
So with regards to the
레군을롱에 사디디 또 순구도가 지도로 나오는 시로 그런 것도 없으나
first turning of the wheel of Dharma. So of course if we check whether we exist apart from the mind-body constituent or not, there is an appearance that we do exist, that as if we exist apart from our And so His Holiness was asking where he stopped yesterday. So the Buddha in his first sermon said that there is suffering and that we experience, and which is a feeling or experience, a sensation, and accordingly, I mean, he doesn't go through the explanation of whether the suffering exists the way it appears to us or not. The experience that we have, where we see, have a notion that the experience or things have some kind of objective existence. Whether that kind of existence is actually true or not, he doesn't go into that. And so, according to how things appear to us, he seems to have given the teaching without analyzing whether things exist the way they appear to us or not. And then, regarding the physical form and then the Buddha goes through the teaching where he says the form is like a form. And then later the Buddha gave the teaching in accordance with those who have the propensity for Chittamatra, philosophical view, by saying that things do not exist externally. So he rejects external existence and taught that things are mere reflection of the mind itself, and that things do not exist outside. And then the question is, if that is the case, do the form, sound, and so forth exist or not? And the answer is that they exist, but not as distinct, separate from the consciousness or cognition of them. And therefore, these objects, sounds, form, and so forth exist as one nature with the cognition, and there is nothing outside. And they exist, they appear to us because of some imprint manifesting for us. And therefore, there is the non-duality of the subject and object that is taught. And then the imprint is said to be left on our foundational consciousness, alaya vijnana. And therefore, on the basis of this, it is taught that there is no emptiness of the duality of subject and object. And so when this is taught, when there is no external object, although we do kind of cling on or grasp at it, and it helps to counter the attachment, anger, and so forth, based on this idea of an external stimulus. And so the Chidamantras say that things are mere reflection of our mind. And then the Madhyamakas say that things are designated by our mind. Apart from the designation, there is no existence of things. And then the purpose of this philosophical school is to actually shake up this grasping at true existence. And so the best philosophical understand or view that can actually do that is the Madhyamaka philosophy. And within the Madhyamakas, there are those two. One which actually accepts an objective existence in things. The other is the one which rejects any objectification of things, which is the Prasangika Madhyamaka. And the Master Nagarjuna is the founder of this school. And then his commentators, amongst his commentators, Master Chandrakirti is the best commentator to reject any objective existence in things. Master Nagarjuna's followers, such as Master Bhaviveka, and so forth. Of course, there was great masters like him. And then we have epistemology, the masters of logic in Buddhism, such as Dignaka and Dhammakirti. Their logic is really profound. Still, they assert that in order to have a valid cognition of true knowledge, we need an object which actually exists objectively from their own side. Whereas Master Chandrakirti so Master even if some were to be very learned, they will still not understand this profound philosophical teaching of Master Nagarjuna. Though his mind may need, it's verse chapter 6 of Madhyamaka Avatara.
지금 나방에 리포사로 직도这个 리포사로 봐봐 째요나 지금 누구도 현에 매대버지 차용도 와 자다.
So he says that this profound understanding will not be fathomed by those, even if they were great learned. So what he said is that things exist, but though they do appear to us, they don't exist the way they appear to us. If you scrutinize the objects. And then Master Chandrakirti also says that things do not exist objectively. So these are the verses which reject any kind of objective existence in things, because there are 4 logical absurdities that you would have to face if you do assert objective existence. And so they are that an Arya being's meditative equipoise on emptiness would be the destroyer of the entities, real entities, and that the conventional truth would withstand any analysis of reasoning, ultimate reasoning, and that the ultimate production cannot be denied, and that the Buddha teaching phenomena are absent of any self-nature, would not hold true. And so these are really profound teachings. And so the Prasangikas say that things merely exist by way of designation and nominally exist. So the teaching of emptiness actually has to counter our grasping at true independent existence. And that is the purpose of the Madhyamaka philosophical view. Because to us, things appear as if they have some objective existence. And the Madhyamaka Prasangikas say that they don't exist the way they appear whatsoever. And so to destroy any objectification in things, the Madhyamaka Prasangikas philosophical idea does that. And then Jetsongkhapa also says in his 3 principles of the path, so when you say things are merely dependently arisen, so the dependence rejects the extreme of permanence. So for the other philosophical schools, from Savatantika Madhyamakas down, for them the appearance dispels that of the nihilism, whereas for the Prasangikas, appearance means things are devoid of any permanence. The extreme of permanence or eternalism is dispelled. So when we say that things exist, they appear due to many different causes and conditions coming together, and therefore they lack any independent existence, and therefore emptiness dispels that of the nihilism, the extreme of nihilism. So things are asserted to exist merely on the basis of conventional designation. So without doing any kind of ultimate analysis into the nature of things, I mean, we do accept things to exist. And this is not just, what I'm saying is not just recounting what is said in the teachings, the text, but from many years of experience, I can say that things are empty of any objective existence, and therefore and so at the end of the 6th chapter of Chandrakirti's Madhyamaka Avatara, which I aspire to reach also, he says, thus, illuminated by the rays of the wisdom's light, the Bodhisattva sees as clearly as the gooseberry on his open palm that the 3 rams in their entirety are unborn from their very start, and through the force of conventional truth, he journeys to cessation. So as you acquaint your mind with how things do not exist the way they appear to us, but they exist by way of convention, designation, then you'll be able to assert from your experience, when you gained insight into emptiness, that things do actually are devoid of any objective existence, yet they exist by way of designation. And then at the end of this the chapter 6, Master Nagarjuna says, so the mind, though the mind may rest continuously in cessation, he also generates compassion for beings and so forth. And then at the end, and like a king of swans soaring ahead and so forth. So, of course, I have memorized this text and Abhisamaya Alankara since my childhood. But in those days, I was just repeating the words. But in the recent times, I've been reading Master Chandrakirti's the Madhyamaka Avatara, entering the middle way, and his auto-commentary quite regularly. And so it says, propelled by the power of the winds of virtue, the Bodhisattva would cruise to the excellent far shore, the ocean equalities of the conquerors. And so, starting from the path of accumulation and progressing along the paths of preparation or cultivation and application and seeing, meditation, and then reaching that of the normal learning, seems rather a reality a realistic goal to reach that ocean equalities of the conquerors. So the Chittamantras say that so the Chittamatra view was taught by the Buddha in order to dispel the fear that these childish have with regard to the profound teaching. And then the Chittamatra view of the three natures were taught. So these three natures, sorry, my computer stopped. And so the Chittamatra view, the philosophical idea is that there is the dependent nature, which being devoid of, which is devoid of the imputed nature, and that absence of imputed nature in the dependent nature is the perfect nature, or and so our consciousness, for example, is dependent nature, and then it's being devoid of the object and subject. The duality is the object and subject duality is the imputed nature, and the absence of that is that of the perfect nature.
남시 소 주관이야 다전적에跑下 사야게 심어로 증에디 근시 이게 남시 시전이 시기 거라 루모된 정신시 어더 두시네.
And so the Chittamantras posit 8 types of consciousness.
근시 남시 시시하다 디시도 The
first, the 5 sensory perceptions, and then there's the mental consciousness, and then the afflictive mind, and the alaya vijnana. So for those who do not assert
the Sanjay Dotusung. Nanjo Java Panangi, Ranka Simji wanted Nayong Juna Tagwesum, Soso Rang Juju, Debakan, Dati Sims Pa Jayona, Debakan, Teneme, Maumban Towerman, Da Maungs Ludu,
so
so share model. She was out of Shibaina, Kijimurota, Shiba de Kijimurwa.
So we are on verse number 31, sorry. That which is past is not more, and that which is yet to be is not obtained. And then we are left with the present. But even with regard to the present, I mean, if you try to pinpoint the present, saying, oh, this is the present, I mean, the half of that is gone, has yet to come. And so we have nothing really that we can point our finger at. And so that which is yet to be is not obtained. Of course, we can talk about these three, the past, present, future, from the understanding that things are merely conventionally designated. As it abides, its locus is utterly transformed. So, how can there be such awareness in the present? And verse number 32 then, whatever it is, is not what it appears as. Whatever it appears as, it is not so. Consciousness is devoid of selfhood, yet consciousness has no other basis. By being close to verse number 33, and verse number 34, likewise the foundational consciousness too appears to be real, though it is false. In this way, it moves to and fro and retains the three realms of existence. 35, just as the ocean and the trees move, although they possess no mind. Likewise, foundational consciousness too moves independent upon the body. 36, so if it is considered that without a body there is no consciousness, you must explain what it is. What is this awareness that is the object of your own specific knowledge? And verse number 37. By calling it specific awareness of itself, you are asserting it to be an entity. Yet, by stating that it is this, you are asserting it also to be powerless. 38, having ascertained yourself. And so forth. So with regard to the teaching of the Buddha, what it does is explain how things exist, because we need to eliminate or overcome our distorted cognition. And so with regard to the teaching of the Buddha, it is twofold, the teachings of scriptures and the realization. And so we need first to study and learn the teaching and then gain experience ourselves and then share it with others, one's own experience. So, having ascertained yourself and to help others ascertain, the learned proceeds excellently, always without error, and the cognizer perceives the cognizable. Without the cognizable, there is no cognition. Therefore, why do you not admit that neither object nor subject exists at all? The mind is but a mere name. Apart from its name, it exists as nothing. So, view the consciousness as a mere name. Name, too, has no intrinsic nature. And verse number 43 also read, in brief, the Buddhas have never, so nothing whatever has any objective existence when you scrutinize and try to find their identity. And therefore, the three natures, such as, and so forth, entities is conceptualization. Absence of conceptualization is emptiness. Where conceptualization occurs, how can there be emptiness? And so, that mind in terms of the perceived and perceiver is the Tathagata. The Tathagatas have never seen. Where there is the perceived and perceiver, there is no enlightenment. So those things do not exist the way they appear to us, as if they have some kind of objective existence. Verse number 46. Devoid of characteristic and origination, devoid of substantive reality and transcending space, awakening mind and enlightenment possess the characteristics of non-duality. Those abiding in the heart of enlightenment, such as the Buddhas, the great beings, and all the great compassionate ones, always understand emptiness to be like space. And then so verse number 48 also read, therefore constantly meditate on this emptiness, the basis of all phenomena, tranquil and illusion-like, groundless and destroyer of cyclic existence. 49, as non-origination and as emptiness, or as non-self grasping at emptiness as such. Such meditation on a lesser truth is not true meditation. Not the notions of virtue and non-virtue, characterized by being momentary and disintegrated and so forth. And then verse number 52 says, by the lion's roar of emptiness, all pronouncements are frightened. This is true.
남시 계시면 대이 되는 땅이 습니다. 니는 동번이도 지선게.
So to whom, 53, to whom the consciousness is momentary, to them it cannot be permanent. So if the mind is impermanent, how could it be inconsistent with its emptiness? In brief, if the Buddha upholds the mind to be impermanent, how would they not uphold that it is empty as well? From the very beginning itself, the mind never had any intrinsic nature. It is not being stated here that an entity which possesses intrinsic existence somehow lacked this. If you assert, 56, if you assert this, you abandon the locus of selfhood in the mind. It's not in the nature of things to transcend their own intrinsic nature. And verse number 58, 59, so of course birth, aging, sickness, death do exist conventionally, but not objectively. So they do exist by way of dependence on other conditions. And therefore, verse number 59 says, starting with ignorance and ending with aging, all processes that arise from the 12 links of dependent origination we accept to be like a dream and an illusion. And 60, 61 done. 62, likewise aggregates recompose in a new existence. In brief, 63, from emptiness, empty phenomena arise, agent, karma, fruit, and their enjoyer, the conqueror, taught these to be only conventional. Just as the sound of a drum and a shoot are produced from a collection of factors, we accept the external world of dependent origination to be like a dream and an illusion. That phenomena are born from causes can never be inconsistent with facts. Since the cause is empty of cause, we understand it to be empty of origination. And verse number 67 touches on the 5 aggregates. When the ultimate truth is explained as it is, the conventional is not obstructed. Independent of the conventional, no ultimate truth can be found. And so when we talk about the ultimate truth, there should be an object on which we establish emptiness itself. Therefore, there is a subject of which is empty of the intrinsic existence. So the conventional is taught for 68. The independent of conventional is no ultimate truth can be found. Verse number 68, the conventional is taught to be emptiness, the emptiness itself, the conventional. One does not occur without the other. So what is empty? It is the object that you are talking about as being empty of independent existence. And therefore, the emptiness is a quality of that. And without the quality, you cannot have the object. And without the object, you cannot have that emptiness as well. So one does not occur without the other, just as being produced and impermanent. And the conventional arises from the afflictions and karma. The karma arises from mind. The mind is accumulated by the propensities. Or when free from propensity, it is happiness. A happy mind is tranquil indeed. A tranquil mind is not confused. To have no confusion is to understand the truth. By understanding the truth, you attain freedom. Described as suchness and as reality limit, as signlessness and as ultimate truth, as the supreme awakening mind, it is also described as emptiness. So without the view of emptiness, you will not be able to overcome grasping at true existence. Without that, you cannot attain arhatship, and therefore, without this understanding of emptiness coupled with the bodhicitta, you cannot overcome the cognitive obscuration, and therefore the understanding of emptiness is necessary to overcome all delusions or all defilements. So those who do not understand emptiness are not receptive. So when you understand that emptiness, the cause of suffering can be seen to be that there is possibility to overcome the suffering and its causes, which is that basically the grasping at true existence. And therefore, when you understand this possibility to reach enlightenment through the understanding of emptiness, you will have compassion towards those who are confused about the reality of how things exist. And therefore it says when this emptiness is explained, is meditated upon by yogis in this way, no doubt there will rise in them a sentiment attached to others' welfare. With regard to those beings that have been bestowed benefits upon me in the past by being my parents or friends, I shall strive to repay their kindness. And then, because of being overwhelmed with a distorted cognition, we can actually feel compassion towards others who are overcome with this kind of illusion or distorted views. So those So with regard to those beings, 74, 75, those beings that are being scorched by the fire of afflictions in the prison of existence, just as I have given them suffering in the past, it is befitting today that I give them happiness. So of course all sentient beings across the expanse of space are related to us, and therefore we need to think about bringing the temporary as well as ultimate happiness to benefit and happiness to them. And then verse number 76 says, if you help others, you will have happiness. If you harm others, you will have suffering. And then 77, if by relying upon sentient beings the unexalted state of Buddhahood is brought about, what is astonishing about the fact that whatever prosperity there is among gods and humans, 78, such as enjoyed by Brahma, Indra, and so forth, there is nothing in this triple world system that is not brought forth by helping others. And so the suffering that we experience are because of harming others. And verse number 79 says, as hell beings, as animals and hungry ghosts, there are different kinds of suffering which sentient beings experience come from harming others. And then 80, so verse number 82 says, support others in all possible ways, protect them. And so if it says you must neglect the other sentient beings, neglect of other sentient beings must be shunned as you would a poison. So with compassion, we need to take care of sentient beings. Though the arhats of the Shravakas lineage tradition have already overcome all delusions, or they lack that kind of compassion to all sentient beings. So verse number 85, rooted firmly because of compassion and rising from the shoot of awakening mind, the true awakening that is sole fruit of altruism, this is what the conqueror's children cultivate. And then in verse number 86, it mentions the Bodhisattvas renounce the bliss of concentration and plunge into even to the depths of relentless hell. And so this is also reflected in the Guru Puja, where there is this prayer that may I be born in hell realm, even for the benefit of each and every sentient being. And then in Nagarjuna's Ratnavali, precious garland, verse
15절에 샤디. 장서 누구 내죠? 현주 찍대 저주네. 계산은 공부시 강시 고배 때번나 현주 동에 기체네 3대 대와 돈에야 남의 반 주보시.
So he says, may I be precious like life, all sentient beings. So chapter 5, verse 84 and 85. So this is indeed amazing, praiseworthy it is. This is excellent way of the sublime that they give away. Their own flesh and wealth is not surprising at all. Those who understand this emptiness of phenomena, yet also conform to the law of karma and its results, that is more amazing than amazing. That is more wondrous than wondrous. Those who wish to save sentient beings, even if they are reborn in the mire of existence, are not sullied by the stains of its events, just like the petals of a lotus born